Sometimes in sports, the most compelling stories are the ones that come full circle, and today I'm bringing you something that might just redefine everything we thought we knew about the trajectory of this franchise. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report, where you get the freshest updates and most intriguing developments surrounding our Detroit Lions. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for every single second of this one, because we're about to dive into a scenario that could legitimately alter the course of our championship pursuit. Look, I've been covering this team for years, and I've seen a lot of speculation come and go, but this particular conversation has layers to it that go way beyond surface-level thinking. We're talking about a potential move that would connect directly to the single most transformative transaction in Lions history. And before I reveal exactly where I'm going with this, I need you to understand the foundation of what made this current roster possible in the first place. January 30th, 2021. That's the date that changed everything for the Detroit Lions. The organization made the difficult decision to move on from Matthew Stafford, the quarterback who had been the face of this franchise for 12 seasons. In return, Detroit received Jared Goff, along with first-round picks in 2022 and 2023, plus a third-rounder in 2021. At the time, it looked like a standard quarterback swap with some draft compensation thrown in, but here's where things get fascinating, and here's where Brad Holmes showed why he's one of the sharpest minds in football management today. Those picks didn't just become players. They became the building blocks of a championship-caliber roster. Think about this for a second. With that third-round pick in 2021, we selected Ifeatu Melifonwu, who developed into a contributor before moving on. But that was just the appetizer. The real magic happened with how Detroit leveraged those first-round selections. The 2022 pick from Los Angeles came in at number 32 overall, and Holmes packaged it in a deal with Minnesota to move up to number 12, where we grabbed Jameson Williams. That explosive wide receiver who just signed an $83 million extension and is on track for another 1,000-yard season. That's the kind of player who changes defensive game plans every single week. But we weren't done. That same trade with the Vikings also netted us the 46th overall pick, which became Josh Paschal, a defensive end who started 10 games last season and has been a reliable presence on that defensive line. Then came 2022 when the Rams stumbled to a 5-12 record, handing us the 6th overall selection. Holmes worked his magic again, flipping that pick along with a third-rounder to Arizona for picks 12, 34, and 168. Pick number 12 became Jahmyr Gibbs, who right now is putting up numbers that have him tied with Barry Sanders for the most touchdowns in NFL history before turning 24. Let that sink in. Barry Sanders. That's the level of production we're talking about. Gibbs is averaging over 134 total yards per game and has 16 touchdowns this season. He's not just meeting expectations, he's obliterating them, and pick 34 from that Arizona deal? That became Sam Laporta, who immediately set the NFL record for most receptions by a rookie tight end with 89 catches and 10 touchdowns in his first season. Even though he's currently recovering from back surgery, Laporta has already established himself as one of the premier young tight ends in this league. All of this, every single piece of this puzzle, traces back to that original Stafford transaction. Now, here's where I need you to pay close attention, because this is where we get to the heart of today's discussion. Jared Goff has been nothing short of exceptional since arriving in Detroit. The guy who the Rams couldn't wait to move on from has thrown for at least 29 touchdowns in each of his last 3 seasons. He finished 5th in MVP voting last year. He's started 68 consecutive games, including playoffs. Goff himself has said this trade was the greatest thing that ever happened to him, and honestly, watching his resurrection has been one of the most satisfying storylines in recent NFL history. This franchise believed in him when others didn't, and he's rewarded that faith with elite-level quarterback play. But here's the thing about building a championship roster. You never stop evaluating opportunities to get better. You never stop asking yourself how you can maximize your window when you have this much talent on the roster. And that brings me to the speculation that's been percolating, the scenario that could bring this entire story full circle in the most dramatic way possible. Matthew Stafford potentially returning to Detroit. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let me be crystal clear about something. Jared Goff is our quarterback. He's earned that right. He's playing at an MVP caliber level, and this team has rallied around his leadership. But the NFL is a business, and it's also a league where veteran experience and championship pedigree matter, especially when you're trying to get over that final hurdle. Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams. He knows what it takes to perform under that ultimate pressure. He's got the arm talent, the football IQ, and the mental toughness that come from playing in this league for 15 years. The strategic implications here are fascinating. Imagine a scenario where Detroit could bring Stafford back, not as a replacement for Goff, but as part of a competition that pushes both quarterbacks to be their absolute best. Or consider a mentor-mentee dynamic where Goff continues to start, but has access to Stafford's wisdom and experience during practice and preparation. This isn't about disrespecting what Goff has accomplished. It's about exploring every possible avenue to maximize our championship window while we have generational talents like Gibbs, Williams, and Aiden Hutchinson in their prime. The financial component would obviously need to work out. Stafford's current contract situation with Los Angeles would require creative maneuvering, but we've seen crazier things happen in this league. And let's be honest, the emotional pull of Stafford returning to finish his career where it started, potentially bringing a championship to the city that drafted him, that's the kind of storyline that transcends football. Detroit fans never stopped loving Matthew Stafford. We appreciated everything he gave this organization during those years when the roster around him wasn't championship caliber. The standing ovation he received when he came back to Ford Field with the Rams was genuine and heartfelt. Think about the infrastructure he'd be walking into now compared to what he had during his first tenure here: a dominant offensive line, dynamic playmakers at receiver and running back, a defense that's legitimately scary, an offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson who's already getting head coaching interviews. This isn't the same struggling franchise Stafford left in 2021. This is a team that's built to win right now, and adding someone with his experience could be that final ingredient. I want to emphasize something important here. This is speculation based on strategic thinking and understanding how championship teams are built. I'm not reporting this as an imminent move or done deal. I'm analyzing a scenario that makes sense from multiple angles and exploring what it could mean for our franchise. That's what we do here at Lions News Fan Report. We don't just regurgitate press releases. We think critically about the possibilities and have honest conversations about paths to championship contention. The beauty of having Goff playing at this level is that it gives Detroit options. The organization isn't desperate for quarterback help, which means any move involving Stafford would come from a position of strength, not weakness. It would be about taking an already elite situation and potentially making it even better. That's the luxury of good management and smart drafting paying off. So here's where I need to hear from you, Lions faithful. How would you feel about Matthew Stafford potentially coming back to Detroit? Does the idea of him mentoring Goff and providing veteran leadership appeal to you? Or do you think we should ride with what we have and not mess with the chemistry that's clearly working? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is the kind of discussion that makes our community special. We don't always agree, but we respect each other's perspectives, and we all want the same thing: a championship parade down Woodward Avenue. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this thought. The Stafford trade in 2021 wasn't just about moving on from one quarterback and getting another. It was about acquiring the assets to build a sustainable winner. Mission accomplished on that front. But stories in sports have a way of coming full circle in unexpected ways. Whether Stafford returns or not, The foundation built from that transaction has positioned this franchise for long-term success. And that's something every Lions fan should feel incredibly optimistic about. Make sure you subscribe to Lions News Fan Report if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We're bringing you the most detailed analysis and the freshest information on your Detroit Lions every single day. Share this video with your fellow Lions fans because these are the conversations worth having. Until next time, stay hungry, stay loyal, and let's keep believing in what this team is building. One pride.